So that happened. This is my new to me 140 GSE Opel Kadett. I believe it is a 1992 model. All that matters is that it is up multiple trim levels and many years newer than my 1986 1.6 GLS. And if you couldn't already guess, this will be the designated parts car for my Opel Kadett time attack build. Because I'm not going for a full-on race car, and my car in particular is a very molested, very high mileage example, I crunched the numbers and came to the conclusion that it would be cheapest to just get a parts donor instead of getting things like my steering rack refurbished and just buying every single part that we need. I also don't want to do a full hardcore race car build. I'm looking to do more of a Pro Toro Weekend Warrior kind of build. So I'm still going to need some sort of an interior, and this thing being a GSE has the uprated interior. It also has the black interior, where mine has the grey interior, so that's also much better. The interior is not in the best of nick. I mean, the door cards are really nice, but the seats are quite clapped, which is fine, especially on the driver's side, because I'm not going to use this seat. This is going to be a bucket seat in my case. It's been broken into, that's for sure. It's been involved in an accident, because those are the original fenders, and that one is very crunched, but it has fresh fenders up on the front. And if I open the bonnet, which I don't think it'll allow me to do, never mind, here we go. It basically looks brand new underneath the bonnet, which is extremely confusing. For the life of me, the only life story I can picture for this car is that it was owned by a loving owner, by a loving family, because I also found a Polaroid on the passenger seat of when presumably they bought this thing new. So this car is very confusing. It's clapped, but it's not. It's ruined, but it's not. It's the highest spec, but it's not, because the GSEs are sort of all the GSI amenities, but it's still slow. And it's not exactly luxurious. It just has the more sporty seats, the more sporty body kit. It has the good bonnet. It doesn't even have the side skirts. It just had the bumpers, the bonnet, the spoiler, and the interior. And being a GSE, obviously it's carbureted, not fuel injection. Funny enough, we did get this thing to start. It won't start right now, and it takes a great deal of effort and multiple people to start it, but it does start. Although it doesn't stay running for very long. But that's not important because I don't need the engine. What I need to do now is rip it apart so I can clean and transplant all of the good bits from this onto my blue car. So let me get my tools from Dexter, because this is going to be a doozy. Almost dropped a hammer on my windscreen. And I've got my gloves sorted so I don't catch something. Let's just say be happy you can't smell what this thing smells like. So now I can get to work. One of the many joys of buying clapped shit boxes is that things often don't work. One of those things being the boot lock. So I need to get inside the biohazard and open it from here. To get stuff out. Come on. There we go, easy as pie. Whoa. Oh, I really don't want to know what that is. Actually, what's underneath here? Woo! What? It's still got its full toolkit and a full-sized spare. With that done, the first thing now is getting the steering rack out. Luckily, underneath the bonnet, as I've shown you, is the only part of this car that it isn't a possible biohazard. Luckily, this is not a 16 valve, so I can actually access the steering rack without removing the intake plenum from the engine, because in the 16 valve, basically, the entire space here is occupied by nothing but the plenum and the throttle body. Oh, look at the little bitty cold air intake on this thing. So this basically feeds into that bugger over there, and it's just, I don't even know where it just feeds from behind the Yeah, it literally doesn't take in any cold air at all. If I can get this out. Pipe. Yeah, that doesn't feed from anything. It's just a flap. Opal. The steering rack is actually the main reason why we wound up getting this car. That's not a 15 either. Because refurbishing the steering rack that is in the blue car, or came out of the... Am I tweaking? So the 15 was too big, but now the 14... Hey? And now the 15 fits. Anyways, refurbishing the steering rack that came out of the blue car would have cost just about half of what this entire red thing wound up costing us. Ugh, fuck, that's on there, isn't it? Hold on. That's a light. I don't have to work in dark. Where's the... It's... No, there's... I don't have to work in darkness. Wait, it's done something. It barely makes any difference at all, but it's there, it's trying. We appreciate it. As I'm slowly but certainly undoing all of the bolts, I can't help but remember that I can't help but realize that I don't remember how this steering rack detaches from the actual steering system. And my Haynes book is at home. I guess I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. So all the bolts and nuts and brackets have been extracted, but that thing is still well in there, and I figured out why, and I'm not too thrilled by it, because it means I need to get inside of it, because it has, if I can just get that underneath there, you probably can't see it, but it has a little retainer with a bolt in it, keeping the splines of the steering rack secured to the rest of the steering assembly. This thing is so gross, man. Oh, yummy.
Much later.
I need 3 showers after this. Come on. For a second there I forgot what it was to work like on old Opals. It's basically just non-stop you thinking you've got something right, and then the car goes, but wait, there's more. Gimme! You're mine! Give it to me! It is out. Steering rack and tie rods are out. Yay. It took a good bit of battling, but they're finally out. And I think I figured out why I had such a tough time with the grub screws. This is a 10.8 grade high tensile bolt. Now let me turn the other way around. Don't know if you can see that on camera, but that's been tightened. A 10.8 tensile bolt has been tightened to the point at which it started to bend. With a 13mm socket. How? I'm currently working on getting the seats and the carpet out of this thing so I can get them cleaned up and figure out a game plan to get them in my own car. Because other than the driver's side seat, all of these seats are very gross, but they're not in the worst shape, and they are better than what I have in my car, considering that this thing still has the factory carpet, and even though it's disgusting, it's still quite undamaged. Anyways, I hate this car. The more I touch it, the more I hate it. Not because it's gross, but because it is in so much better condition, especially chassis-wise, than my car. I mean, before an unfortunate series of events happened that led this thing down the path it currently is going down, this thing was a very nice, unmolested example. I mean, I already got all the front seat bolts out. Look at that. That is not only the factory bolt, which my car has none left of, that's still the factory Loctite on the bolt. That means the seats have never been out. That's a rarity as far as I'm concerned. And yes, a bird did perish there. As well as a black label, but... Beyond the parts donors yield many benefits. This is yet to show them, but we'll get there. I must say, once I look past how gross all of this is, which it is very gross, it is slightly pleasant to be working on an Opel again. Even though they're not as fun to work on as the Toyotas, this is where I started, I guess. This is what I learned on, so to return to it is quite nice, I won't lie. Yes, you do get parts from a parts donor, but also you now have a second car that you care about less that can teach you how to put together the car that you accidentally took apart way too far. Working on a car that's this dirty is so awkward, and it takes so much longer. Also, you end up snipping a lot of wires because there's usually a right way to do it and a careful way to do it, but it would require me laying on that carpet, and ain't no way that's happening. But I'm ready to take out the front bit of the carpet now, and it seems as though I have encountered my arch nemesis, which is a glued down carpet. Luckily, it seems I haven't used too much of the horrible stuff, so I should be able to get this out with relative ease. And hopefully without getting any dead bird fecal matter on me. Wait, this thing has rear seat belts. Mine doesn't have those. Upgrades. I might not even have rear seats when I'm done, but the option is there now. Ah! But I've not seen a speck of rust, which is extremely annoying. I'm just going to remove these door rubbers, and then I'm going home and having a shower. And then when I get out of the shower, I'm getting back in the shower, they're having another one. All I can smell is death. It's in my nose. It's drilled itself into my sinuses. Ah!